pretty much it's this guy, he's dressed up as Frankenstein for Halloween. He's going to meet his girlfriend who's dressed up as the Bride of Frankenstein.
Right.
And it seems like there's this big buildup of a few different things happening, where it seems like there's just an inevitable, you know, convergence that's going to happen where all these things are going to connect. And then they do at the end, and, you know.
Right. Personally, though, the guy in a taxi. If I had a taxi driver fucking filling out a crossword puzzle, I think I'd punch him in the face.
While he was driving?
Yeah, I think I would be like, are you fucking kidding me? Just pull over, I'm out of the car, I'll walk.
See, because the word he was trying to figure out the entire time was
Nexus,
Nexus,
yeah.
yes. And so it was,
that's why it
was severely foreshadowing what was going to happen. But yeah, I thought it was pretty well done.
When it ended, the scream was actually, I felt, was perfect because, I mean, she was dressed up as the Bride of Frankenstein. The scream was iconic in that sense, which was nice.
Next one is O for Ochlocracy. Ochlocracy.
What the fuck did you write?
It means mob rule. This one, it was a really funny take on zombies, because it's pretty much the zombies.
There's a nice backwards to it.
Yeah, the zombies kind of, I guess a medication was made, so the zombies are returned to a somewhat normal state. And so,
somewhat, yeah.
So there is now a zombie court that is trying people who killed or assaulted zombies.
During the apocalypse.
During the zombie apocalypse, which is really funny, and I've never seen that idea played out before.
And the thing is, I know a lot of people laughed. She was opening the door, and you hear, oh, like, but it's just like the typical shit of her running out the door.
It had a really, like, it was really serious at points, but then there were other points that were really jokey.
You're just looking at it going, really?
Yeah, it was pretty good. But yeah, that one was really like high concept.
I felt really kind of sad with the girl though.
Yeah, because she had to kill her little daughter.
And she got bit, so she shot her in the face. And the thing is, she says in one part, she goes, "Why didn't you just bury me?"
Why didn't you bury me, Mom?
And it was just like, oh.
See, that's what I'm saying. It's like it got really dark and dramatic at points, and then it was also really jokey.
But the end has a really nice backwards twist again, where it's like,
yeah. The next one is scary. Which is the best way to get around. This one was really weird. It was really weird. By the way, it was scary.
Like a stutter kind of thing. That's what it was.
Scary. This one had a really weird sense of humor, but it was really funny and really weird. This one's tough to describe because it's like three dudes who look like they broke out of like a 1910 prison.
Oh, I was thinking they were also in purgatory a little bit with the black.
Oh yeah, definitely. But they're wearing old prison getup where it's just like the black and white stripes and like the hat.
Two of them had the prosthetic kind of like
weird long noses.
Yeah, kind of like a witch nose.
Yeah.
Two of them stuttered, and the other one's just like, yeah, whatever.
One had a weird unibrow. It was very strange. Yeah, they kept stuttering like that throughout, where there was like every once in a while.
Larry.
And it seems like purgatory or something like that. They're walking through this big black vastness with a lantern, and they come across this guy who's sitting like in an armchair, and he's just like keeps blowing out their lantern, and it gets really weird. Then we have Q is for questionnaire.
That one was pretty obvious.
Yeah.
That one for me was just like, oh, I know.
Title wise, yeah.
Questionnaire, I mean,
it was pretty much this guy like sitting down, seemingly like a random public, like, hey, do you want to take a questionnaire?
Pretty much those whole IQ things.
Yeah. And if you do well, we can present you some great opportunities. Which turned into like a weird like.
While he was doing the questionnaire, it kept flashing to him being like
having like a brain transplant.
And then
transplant.
All that shit. But it was just kind of like, oh yeah, come with me. I have some great opportunities for you. After he passed the whole questionnaire.
Yeah, that one was all right. I didn't like. I mean, the end was kind of like, all right.
Well, yeah, the zoom in, done.
Yeah. But okay, so the next one was R is for roulette. This one was about three people who were in like a basement playing a round of Russian roulette. Two of them are obviously like a couple, and then one other random dude. And this was another foreign one.
Yeah. Seemed probably.
But yeah, this one was pretty interesting because like
the end was interesting.
Yeah, just the way it was winding down and the tension was kind of building up, like who's gonna get shot sort of deal, and then it has that kind of twist ending.
For me, once they came back in there, she's like, "What's the percentage of chance he's gonna get shot?" And then he's like 3 of whatever, and I'm just sitting there like, as soon as they keep clicking it off, I keep counting down in my head. I'm like, oh, now we're down to 50-50. Yeah. Well, he's bound to die.
So the next one is S is for split. Now this was a really clever one. I thought this was a good one. This is the one with the husband on the phone with his wife when there's a break-in happening, and he's in France and she's in England, probably somewhere. He's on the phone with her while there's a break-in, and she's like hiding in the closet and stuff like that, and he has like her and her, you know, their child, so their baby. That one plays out and gets gets pretty fucked up.
When it played out, it was just like some intruder, you know. You think typical shit, and then she's on the phone. He's breaking in, like, oh my god.
Yeah, like the reveal at the end was really good. And
everybody.
I wouldn't want to spoil it, but like it's good.
Everybody in the audience was like, oh, oh no.
Like that had a really good ending to it.
Yeah.
And like see, that's one of the things where it's like you have like pretty much 3 or 4 minutes to do something where you have to you don't have to have a good reveal, but in order to build a good reveal like that, I thought it was really clever the way it did it. Mm-hmm. Just because generally like that's like a whodunit, like who the hell would want to break into this? We don't know more than the couple minutes we spent like watching this who would do that, and then it was such a good reveal. Next after that is T is for torture porn. Now I think we thought this was going to be tentacles.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be tentacle porn.
Yeah.
I went hentai with it. Yeah. I thought it was going to be just tentacles.
This was a girl going into like a porn casting thing.
I wasn't a fan of this
and
one.
They're just like, and unfortunately this happens, where they pretty much like put a bunch of different cameras on her, and they're like, you know, we have to see what you'll go through, and like they just like, you know, if I pulled out my dick right now, you suck it and stuff like that.
And sometimes, I mean, they won't even get the job. They just now have been pretty much fucked with the entire time.
But it had a good reversal. And, you know, she kind of gets her revenge. I thought it was definitely weird, but...
Yeah, honestly, like, with what happened, I would just call it tentacle porn. Just be hentai with it. Come on.
Yeah. The next one is U is for Utopia.
Honestly, this one made me really uncomfortable.
It was also really stylish.
Yes.
It seemed they spent a good amount of money on...
It kind of reminded me of, like, Abercrombie. Like an entire Abercrombie, like, utopia of just people.
See, I thought it was going to be used for unique.
So that's what I was thinking, too.
It was pretty much the society where everybody's pretty much the same. They're all good looking.
Everyone's perfect.
They're perfect, they're good looking, they all have, like...
flaw.
It seems like this community that is completely based around this one brand.
Nip Tuck a little bit.
Yeah. Like this one brand where everybody has, like, a U... on their cups,
all the balloons,
the same cups, the logos, the shirts, everything has this logo on it. And then there's this one schlobbish guy walking around really disheveled, and he kind of like falls or something like that, and they all point him out. And
what happens, and I think was funny, is like no one says anything. No one really talks in this short ball. There's no words being said. But when he falls, the first thing that happens is a bitch takes out her phone and goes click click.
Yeah.
And they all just kind of start scanning his face. And the lead chick scans.
I think it goes for symmetry.
Imperfect.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he gets, you know. Every time there's like all these overly perfect whatever people, and it becomes this one oddball out, I always feel bad for the oddball because it's like he's not doing anything wrong, and then he becomes destroyed.
It was relatively similar.
It made me uncomfortable.
Relatively similar to the one in the first ABCs of Death, directed by Xavier Gans, the guy, the one about the fat woman. Who lives in the society where they just
that was
completely...
a French one too, I think.
Yeah, he's French. And it was, they idealize these skinny women, and so, like, everybody is being an asshole to her.
Yeah.
More so than I think regularly happens in society. Definitely being fat is, like, you know, definitely a stigma somewhat within our culture.
Why.
But... I've never seen on a level the way they take it in that, where everybody's being an asshole and calling her fat and telling her to eat more.
That type of stuff seems to happen more in school than in real, maybe in real life.
But it's a very similar... It just
makes me very uncomfortable, makes me very upset when things like that play out.
It was a similar one, so I think that kind of mirrored it pretty well from the other one. Then we have V is for vacation.
Should I describe this one since you didn't really get it? Or not get it, but you didn't remember what
No, I just couldn't remember which one it was when I had written it down.
Okay.
This one was a guy and his guy friend go on a vacation.
His jackass friend.
His jackass guy friend.
I'm sorry.
And it starts off, the one guy is on, FaceTime with his girlfriend. Just like, you know, checking up. And, like, the guy is describing, like, yeah, we're just having a chill time here, you know, nothing crazy happening.
He said they walked on the beach together, and that sounded really stupid to me, but she's like, really, on your guy trip? And I'm like, there's got to be more than a walk on a beach and a few beers. Come on, guys.
So his friend takes the phone, and there's, like, hookers and cocaine. The girlfriend is like, are those hard drugs?
Yeah, I heard that the second time.
The hookers is a young
It's a mom and her daughter, and apparently you get a discount if you fuck them both. And I was just like, wow, okay.
And like the asshole friend is like, oh yeah, your friend, he'd like the stanky old bitch and stuff like that.
He sniffs it.
Yeah, he sniffs her and
takes the screwdriver out. He's like, she did some great shit with this last night.
Yeah, well that one escalates pretty quickly from there and. Yeah, no, that one, like,
I honestly thought there was something supernatural about it.
Then we have W is for Wish. Now, this was actually really funny to me because I watched a bunch of toy commercials when I was young.
Oh.
And, you know, in those toy commercials, it's usually like, yeah, we're going in the battlefield with the Captain Zorg and stuff like that.
It's a really cool play on the TV commercials for, like what, the Transformers and shit. Like, what if we could be a part of that world? And it's like
90s and 80s television toy commercials.
Yeah, and have fun.
They're thrust into this world where it's like inside the toy commercial, pretty much. It's the world of the toys, but it's just a really fucked up version of it. People are dying. Like, there's an actual war going on where people are getting blown up.
And the thing is, the first character they meet, which is one of the dolls is the hero, they see him and they're like, oh my god! And then he goes, we're fucking gonna die, we're out of here! And he runs, and I'm like, well, alright. And then everyone's heads getting chopped off, and shit's happening.
It got really fucked up.
And it got really fucked up towards the end, too, because honestly, there was no resolve, like...
No. It was just getting really creepy towards the end, but it was funny. It was really funny to see that really dark. The next one was X is for xylophone, which if I were given the X, I would probably do xylophone as well.
It's the easiest thing to do.
Either X-ray or something like that, but...
I feel like it's just easier.
This one was really clear from the outset that it was xylophone, because the little girl was playing xylophone. This one was pretty short. Pretty much, it's this lady is babysitting a little girl who's just playing the xylophone, and she seems to be getting progressively annoyed by it, or put off by it at least.
Well, I would. I'm sorry if you keep banging on the xylophone for an hour.
I hope you would never do what she did.
I would never do that.
Anyway, it has, it's really short. It's a pretty short one, and it plays out probably the way you would think about it playing out, the way we just described it, so, yeah. It's kind of a fucked up ending.
But I mean, the girl like kept looking at her like, yeah, you want, she's gonna bang on this shit. And I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing?
Next one is Y is for Youth. Now I think I like this one the second time around because I actually understood it a bit better.
You didn't get it the first time?
I mean, I got it the first time. I just didn't at first get it, and so I think that kind of made me have a negative thing towards it. But I like this one. I liked it a lot better this time.
Oh, as soon as I saw it, I got it. Like, with all the stuff that happened when I was seeing that, I was like, oh, wow.
Pretty much, it's a short about a young girl who has really just shitty parents, and she's resorted to cutting and stuff like that. But it plays out in a very abstract way, and it's her sitting with her two pretty much neglectful parents.
Dad on the guitar.
Dad who's like a failed musician, and mom who just never cares. And it's her writing a text message or something like that.
It's kind of one of those...
Describing...
Yeah, it's one of those things where you write out a note, but you never send it.
Yeah, and it's just describing all these things that both of them have done, and it plays out visually while she's describing it. Like, the mom turns into a dog, and, like, shit happens, and then, like, the dad...
It's really weird.
It gets really abstract with it, but it's really... The visualizations of what she's saying is really interesting, and I like how it just progressively continues along with what she's saying.
Right. Because I guess, like, he had let her dog die and shit like that.
Yeah.
And her mom didn't care that, like, never ate anything fresh, always fast food. She had some sort of rash on her face. Mom didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
But the end, like, big finger that came up.
Yeah.
Was just the big fuck you at the end. It was just like, I'm done.
The only problem I had with it was it was like low framey. Like, it was maybe like, it was really choppy.
It was supposed to be though.
I don't know, like, I don't know.
It was the...
It might have just been the way they filmed it, but, like, not intentionally, but I don't know if it was... It just seemed low framey. Last one is Z. Z is for zygote. Now, this is your favorite.
I hate this one.
You hate this one.
It makes me uncomfortable and makes me never want to have kids, personally.
Mommy? Okay, so this one...
Seriously?
...is a really out there one. But it's interesting, I thought. So pretty much there's this husband and his pregnant wife out in the middle of nowhere in the dead of winter. The husband has to go out for something, we don't know what. But he left his wife with... he tells his wife not to have the child until he comes back. And he left his wife with these jars full of this root, which you would assume, like, I guess it lasts a while. You only have to...
You're supposed to, yeah.
You assume it just stops her from giving birth. Fast forward 13 years later... And she still hasn't had this baby yet.
Well, see, the thing is, and you think she's walking around, she's dragging herself at this point. I mean, it's a 13-year-old inside of her.
With a full 13-year-old inside her stomach, just talking to her. And it's funny, like, the mom has, like, attachment issues, or at least, like, it's one of those things where she doesn't want her child to leave, so it's like, you know, the baby's like, the kid inside her is just like, Mommy, when am I coming out? And she's like, why do you want to come out so bad? You don't want to leave your mama, do you? And she's like, no, it's not that. I just want to know if I'm a boy or a girl.
Oh, she said, I hope I'm a boy.
Yeah.
But, like, it was the whole aspect of, like, well, I'm tired of eating the same foods, because, I mean, apparently they're still attached in that sense. And then, like, the way it plays out, like, everybody in the audience was just going, oh, why?
The sound effects. And
the flopping around and shit.
It got really messed up. Oh. But I thought it was interesting. It was probably one of the more interesting outside of it.
Don't get me wrong, it was set up perfectly, but...
Yeah. Oh. The effects, like, the practical effects were really good. Like, the baby inside of her and stuff like that, like, dragging around, like...
How the fuck would you do that? Like, how would you set that shit up?
So that was Z's for Psycho. So that is the ABCs of Death 2.
La, 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 la. You're doing it wrong, but okay. La, la, la.
That was like the theme at the end. I think overall a lot more of I had said to her, a mature, like, version of the first one. Like, they definitely had a lot more... Most of the filmmakers had a really great visual style.
They had more grasp for what they needed to do for each letter. It
was less like shot on a flip camera. The production value was upped seemingly, and I think the content was a lot more mature this time around.
Well, as I said, I mean, I just feel like they really, all A through Z were actually tried, not Z for whatever.
Something slapped together, yeah.
You know, or what the fuck.
Yeah, there was a couple of the ones in the first one that made a joke of the fact that they had to pick something for their
Q
letter.
did that,
Q is for quack and what the fuck. W is for
They're like,
fuck.
what the
it's just like, what the hell are we gonna do? Like, they openly, like, acknowledge the fact. It kind of takes you out a little bit where they acknowledge that. I did like Q for quack, though. But I thought it was funny.
I didn't think it wasn't, like, not funny. I felt bad for the duck.
The fact that happened a couple times was, like, that they acknowledged they're in this contest, or not contest, but they're in the ABCs of Death thing, and they got stuck with this letter. And
it's like also with, like, F is for fart. Like, it just kind of... Why the fuck would you make a fucking short about farting in people's faces? Especially two Japanese girls. Now it's like porn.
It was really weird.
I mean, it's just...
Check out our review of ABC. We already did a review for ABCs of Death. If you guys didn't know, we probably should have started that off with that. That's pretty much our review of ABCs of Death 2. And starting off the first day of, the 13 Days of Horror. Listen, day review. Day 1.
You're doing it wrong, so stop.
How did it go?
I don't know, and I'm not gonna sing it.
Then how am I doing it wrong?
Because it wasn't. It was like an actual lullaby. It was like up. Anyway, look up the fucking song, and it'll be better.
Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow on day 2.